We've gathered a group of industry leaders from the technology and design community at Planet Innovation in Melbourne to count down the top 10 innovations across Australia and New Zealand for the year. This is where things get really serious. We're down to the top 10. The judges have to select their best innovations and finally come up with only one that's going to be voted the best innovation for the entire year.
This year was particularly difficult. There was such a high calibre of entries that there was quite a bit of debate in the room at the end.
Coming in at number 10, this next innovation the judges thought was very clever. Nits, however, might not agree.
Head lice. As a mum, I've been dealing with the problem for years. I've used everything on the market, from mousses to sprays to shampoos. Is it just me, or does nothing seem to do the job anymore?
The bugs develop resistance over time to all the products, hence the products are not effective anymore. We've got an innovative solution, which is the VCOM, and it's a winner.
So we've got 3 different kinds of hair here that we can try it out. Oh, what's the sound?
The unit develops vacuum and you can start combing the hair.
Okay. And how many times do we go through each section of hair?
Quite a few times from different directions.
Well, that's easy. It's just like combing.
Okay, Terry, let's see what have we got inside.
Oh, wow, I can see them in there. They're crawling around.
With a new person, we must make sure that the unit has been sterilized before we start. We change the capsule and we are ready to go.
With shorter hair, like we have with Ryan, do we tackle it the same way?
Change the unit head to the 180 degrees.
So we start from the bottom and go up.
All the way. And remember to comb the scalp.
Well, the really great news for you, Ryan, is I don't see anything in there. By stopping the use of all the chemicals and treatments, we're eliminating the opportunity for these critters to evolve and develop immunity. This is not just another product. This is changing the way we tackle the problem altogether.
At the heart of really great design is a problem worth solving. Rock fishing is one of Australia's most dangerous sports, and I'm not surprised to see the rock fisher in our top 10.
Apparently, to go rock fishing, you need a lot more than a fishing rod. So this is the rock fisher.
Yes, my mate Brad and I, we do lots of rock fishing, been doing it for years. We developed this to make our life a lot safer. All of this stuff that you threw out of the bucket, Terry, we're not going to use half of it. You're going to carry the fish in a bag. You'll also find a waterproof pocket in there, which is for your phone.
Oh, I thought I'd have to leave that behind.
Here's our safety line. It's the bait bucket, spare tackle, and finally, your bait knife. That's it. You are good to go. If I was to fall now, my reaction is to grip my equipment, so I'm going to go head first into the rocks.
Whereas I'm hands-free.
Absolutely, that's the whole point of the rock fisher. Unfortunately, many rock fishers do end up in the water. We've come up with some extra features that you won't find on a basic life jacket. So the first thing you want to do is raise the alarm, so you've got a whistle on your left shoulder. And the other feature is a strobe light. If you're unfortunate to go into night time, they'll see that like a lighthouse. In the collar, you have a survival hood. If you'd like to unzip it, this thing will stop you swallowing or inhaling water, which gives you a sense of security and the will to survive.
I thought the rock fisher was a safety device, and it is that. Thank you. But what I really love are all the carefully considered details to make the rock fisher perfectly designed for the end user.
Form Design's Edward Curry loved the simple ingenuity behind innovation number 8.
I'm so pleased to see that the nail snail has been recognised for its brilliant simplicity and has reached the top 10.
Just pulling out a traditional set of nail clippers can send a child into a meltdown. It's stressful for the entire family. Julia Christie knew there had to be a better way.
My son, when he was born, I used a pair of clippers to clip his nails and ended up cutting him. And when I started asking my friends and family, you know, is it just me? Am I the worst mum in the world? And everyone was like, no, it's really common. Everyone does it, don't worry. And I thought, hang on a minute, everybody does this? This isn't good enough.
So Julia, tell me about the baby nail snail. Why is it different?
The number one feature is this recessed V-shaped blade, which glides across the nail. So there's no clipping or cutting down or nasty noises or anything like that. So it's got the trimming blade at the front, the nail file underneath in the tummy there, and it's got an under nail cleaner in the tail. But the lovely thing about a nail snail is, because it's a snail, it's so appealing to children. I got a hungry little snail, and it goes num, 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 num.
I wish nail trimming at my household had been that calm and gorgeous. That was really time with your daughter.
Yeah, it's that moment of connection. You can hold them and hug them and sing with them, and it becomes this lovely healthcare moment rather than, you know, holding them down and, oh God, it's so scary. Like, it's lovely.
Nail Snail is a result of challenging the way that things have always been done. Not only is Nail Snail a clever little innovation, but it's solving an age-old battle happening in family households around the world.
We're counting down the top 10 innovations for the year across Australia and New Zealand. Sam Lanyon from Planet Innovation was inspired by number 7.
I'm really happy that this innovation has got into the top 10. So to recap, it's ag and it's ag tech. It's the internet and it's cows. It's eshepherd.com.mu.
So Ian, tell me about fences.
Well, for thousands of years, people have used shepherds to look after their cattle, but we introduced barbed wire and wire fences to control where they graze. But with eShepherd, we can do away with all of that.
Ian reckons you can get rid of fences. How?
We can using this, which is the eShepherd virtual collar. It's got a couple of key features. One, it's solar powered, so the battery never needs to be charged. It's got a GPS unit in it, so it knows where it is on the planet and knows where the virtual boundary is. When you draw a fence on your computer, it sends those fence coordinates to the collar. As the animal approaches the virtual boundary, it gets an audio cue. If the animal goes no further, or it stops, or it turns around, that's all that happens. If it continues past the virtual boundary, it gets a mild electrical stimuli, which turns the animal back.
How mild?
Pretty mild.
Come on, give us a go. Oh, what? Actually, it's not too bad. So Cameron's shown us how you train the animals. Well, what's next?
Well, the farmer uses a tablet or computer and they can draw virtual paddocks on a map of their property, and then they can drag and drop their mobs of cattle into those paddocks.
Oh, wow.
And it shepherds them across.
You can muster from your living room.
You can. You can be sipping a latte in London and you can be managing your cattle in Cunnamulla.
By creating virtual boundaries, eShepherd has removed physical boundaries. This has given farmers far more control over their stock and their land than they've ever had before.
Rode Microphones' Peter Friedman really admired innovation number 6.
When I first saw this design, I thought, why didn't I think of this? I mean, it's simple, but that's everything great, isn't it? Simple, but really well executed.
Serge, I have to admit, I'm surprised to be out here. I thought we were doing a bit of a backyard barbecue to see this innovation of yours.
Don't even worry about that. We're just going to go straight to the big stuff.
Really?
Yes.
No kindling?
No kindling.
I'm looking forward to seeing this. That's not petrol, is it?
No, it's water. I wouldn't be silly enough to use petrol.
But now it's soaking wet, we'll never light it.
Today, we're taking Blazable to the extreme.
That's it?
That's it.
But how's that going to light a fire? It's metal.
Well, you just twist it open, and then you throw your firelighters in there, and you lock it in, and that stays locked, safe, and it won't open.
Let's put it to the test. I'm so impressed how quickly that lit.
Well, that's the beauty thing about Blazable. You don't need to do any stacking or pyramids or any of that. You just throw it on, suffocate it as much as you want, because that's where it works best. I use mine in a barbecue now, and it's just too easy.
All we need now are the marshmallows.
Did somebody say marshmallows?
Oh, fantastic. Look at you all kitted out in your Blazable gear. What's going on?
Well, we had to get organised because we've been invited to the 2019 Hearth Patio and Barbecue Expo in Texas.
That's enormous. The US is a massive market.
It is a massive market, but we've got a great market here too, and you can use Blazable anywhere you'd like to light a fire in the planet, really.
What I really love about Serge and Nancy's story is that not only did they have a good idea, but they followed it through and went to an industrial designer here in WA to get it right. And now they're poised to hit the global market with a really great product.
Vince Frost of Frost Collective could relate to innovation number 5.
I'm a podcaster and I'm passionate about putting a podcast together once a month. I know how expensive and time-consuming that can be, though. This next innovation is brilliant, it's simple and effective, and I want one.
Globally, podcasting has become such a fast-growing medium that there are now more people every month listening to a podcast than using Twitter. In fact, 1/3 of all Australians listen to a podcast just this month alone. So this is where it gets really complicated. If you want to record anything more than just one person on a podcast, you need something to be able to record multiple microphones, like a broadcast console, something to launch sounds, audio processing, headphone amps, recorders, all of this equipment.
So how much is all this going to set you back?
It would be thousands of dollars to be able to produce a professional podcast, let alone the fact you need a background in audio production or a producer to run it all for you.
So what's Rode doing to make this simpler?
Well, slide on down here and I'll show you. This is the Rode Podcast Studio. We've taken a mixer in the front end so that you can connect your microphones. We've got Bluetooth functionality so you can take calls or play music. Something that's really cool is you can even play back sound. So most podcasts will have an intro and an outro that you have to do in post-production once you've finished recording. You can simply launch those sounds by pressing the buttons and away they go. You've got headphone amps on board and loads of audio processing that would normally be very complicated with the single press of a button.
Tim Roth,
Margaret,
great to
how
meet
are
you.
you?
Fantastic.
Welcome.
So you're a professional broadcaster.
Sometimes.
And you're using this.
What I love about podcasting is that anyone can do it, and this makes it even easier to have multiple microphones going. For me, it's the best product going around. Do you want to be my guest? Look at this.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Tim Ross with you, and we are talking innovations, and we've got Margaret Petty from UTS, and you're the head of innovation, so it's apt that we're talking to you today. Is there enough innovation going on in Australia at the moment, do you think?
I don't think there's ever too much innovation happening in particular.
What I really like about this innovation is it's designed and manufactured in Australia. Also, it's putting the tools of the professional into the hands of anyone who has a story to tell.
Our team of industry leaders are counting down the top 10 design innovations for the year in Australia and New Zealand.
There's such a stigma to wearing a hearing aid. This next innovation challenges all of that. It's beautiful, it can be worn as an accessory, it's highly usable for both young and old, and it's also number 4 out of our top 10 innovations.
Hearing loss impacts nearly 4 million Australians. Yet due to the stigma around hearing aids, most people don't even seek help. Most people don't even know they have a problem, so they struggle unnecessarily in day-to-day environments. So Peter, what are the telltale signs of hearing loss?
Oh, there are quite a few, but actually the best example is a cafe like this, where there's lots of background noise and you're struggling to hear what the other person's saying.
So what is it that you've created that's solving this problem for people? I'm curious.
This is it. This is the Facet. This is a hearing aid that has lots of fantastic new features. You put it together, put it behind your ear, and it solves a lot of those problems that we've just been talking about. What I'd like to do now, Terry, is show you how you can do something about your hearing loss.
So we'll need a soundproof booth?
No. In fact, it's much better if we don't use a soundproof booth. It's important that we do this in a normal environment.
So I could be in my own office or at home?
Absolutely. That would be perfect, whatever suits you. I'd like you to click on the button that says play word.
Moth. And then I'm typing the result that I hear.
That's right. So the computer is recording your responses and comparing them with the actual word, and the errors that you make tell us about your hearing.
Done. And we are.
Terrific. This shows that you have good hearing.
So let's say my test wasn't so good.
We can use the result of that test to program up some hearing aids for you. These were designed by a medical device jewellery designer, Leah Hayes.
It's a great range of colours.
The goal was to make them desirable to wear rather than making you feel like you have a disability. There's a magnetic battery. It just clicks on, and just put that behind your right ear.
Okay, it just pops on.
That's right. And the little red bit goes into the ear canal.
I can't even feel it there.
Fantastic.
In the same way that glasses are now a fashion accessory, Facet is changing the way we look at hearing loss. Packed with technology and background support, it is a life-changing accessory you want to wear. Knives have traditionally been a one-size-fits-all kind of product, but the user experience can vary greatly from one cook to another. So our number 3 has a look at changing that. Without having a huge array of knives in the collection, how can they personalise it for the end user?
It lives in the second drawer and it's a tool we use every day. Meet the kitchen knife.
That's not a knife. So my family are in cooking, and it began with them thinking about how can we improve a knife. I mean, people use these things for a lot of time, And just the ability to slide that enables you to rebalance it.
If I move this, I get a really lovely knife action that balances in my hand. This isn't the finished product, is it?
This is the second prototype. In a typical knife, over time, these get round, and what will happen is the balance will go out. So this is a weight with a magnetic set inside, so we can slide this and rebalance it. Being dynamic, you can actually use it for different types of processes. Some people hold it like this, some people hold it like this, and indeed, different foods require different processes.
So this is the final product?
This is the final product.
And I can see the difference?
Yeah, so straight away there's a little lump on that, so you get the grip, but it allows you to clean, so you can take those out, clean that in the dishwasher.
That's a beautiful feeling knife.
Yeah.
So from first sketches to early ideas, to a prototype that I would have been happy with, to the final thing, there's a lot involved. So Colin, you've got a knife in your hand all day, right?
Yes, I would say more than 6 hours.
Wow.
So knife is very important for me. I can adjust my knife easily, and it's very good for me. I like my knife.
We're choosing Japanese steel, which I believe is one of the best. The whole thing is made out of one piece. So the other thing we've done is we've actually vapor honed the surface.
What does that mean? What does it do?
So it's a micro treatment, a slight texture on the surface, which helps the sushi come away from the knife.
Knife making is an ancient craft, and let's face it, we've all got a few at home. What's different about the balance knife? It's the first knife that's truly customisable.
We are down to the final 2 innovations in our top 10 countdown. Coming in as the runner-up, the Ursa camera system from Melbourne-based Blackmagic Design.
What they've produced here is truly up there with the absolute best in the world, companies that are thousands of times larger, but it's Australian innovation that's doing it.
You've probably seen this kind of outdoor broadcast setup somewhere like the footy. It costs around $150,000. And something like this for a typical studio setup, around $75,000. And this is your typical run-and-gun news broadcast camera. It's around $20,000. But the thing is, these are Ursa broadcast cameras. They're doing the same job for around $3,500 for this one, $7,000 for this one, and $9,000 for this one.
The problem we had with the TV industry is it's an electronic medium and the equipment cost a lot of money. You can't be creative if you can't afford to actually buy the equipment. What we really wanted to do is turn the television industry from being an equipment-based industry and really very expensive into something that was more of a creative industry. People can now afford to do television that could never have done it before. They could start off small and then, within a few months or even years do high-end Hollywood-type films.
In what way?
Well, you can transform this camera from being a small camera. You can even put a photo lens on it if you need to. In this case, we've put a studio viewfinder on top, which is much larger, and we've got this big fibre optic module on the back, which transforms the camera into a studio camera. So what that lets us do is we can power this camera and connect it up to 2 kilometres away from a giant broadcast truck like that's behind me using a fibre optic cable. Normally on a live production, each camera will be following a different part of the action, like say a sporting event, and then what this truck does is cut it all together, and that's what's broadcast to people at home. And you can see that's how a small camera can actually then become quite big. That's what empowering somebody really is. They can go as high and as big as they possibly want to do. It's purely up to their own creativity.
What I see here is a company-wide attitude to do things differently, not to accept things the way they've always been done. This is not just a game-changing TV camera. This is a company-wide attitude enabling innovation in everything they do.
And now, the winner of Australia by Design Innovations for the year.
For couples going through the stress of IVF, seeing your embryo grow in real time makes the world of difference. I'm so glad to see that this innovation is our #1.
Incredibly, the world's first IVF babies turned 40 this year, and that's thanks to Australian innovation. Now, 4 decades on, design is evolving the science once again. So most of us think of IVF with dry ice and big vats. Is that what it is?
Well, Tim, it was 40 years ago, but in the intervening time, the advancements in all aspects of fertility treatment have just made it incomparable. The ability to generate embryos over 5 or 6 days is absolutely at the centre of the IVF process.
So the next step is that we have to incubate those embryos or put them in an environment that's as similar as possible to what they would have experienced naturally. So one of the ways that we used to do that is in an incubator like this. And as you can see, each side of the incubator holds multiple patients. So the way that we improved on that was that we developed the Jerry system. On the top here we have individual chambers, and when you open that up, it's one patient per chamber. With the Jerry, it has inbuilt cameras, and what this allows the embryologist to do is to come in the morning and see what's happened to the embryos overnight. So from there, Tim, what we do with the embryos is we have to freeze them or cryopreserve them. So traditionally in the past, what we've done to do that is take the embryos out of the incubator and then we move them through a number of different solutions.
It sounds very manual.
So what Gabby does is it enables the embryologist to take the embryo from the dish, and then the instrument does all of that movement of the fluids.
And we're just disturbing them less.
Correct.
From the Jerry incubator, we're able to shoot images and video. Patients are then, through the app, able to access those images and video at a time of their choosing. What the Grow app has allowed patients to do is really to become much closer to the embryo development.
Really good design puts itself in the shoes of others. Here, that means designing to improve the quality of environment for the embryo, the quality of information for scientists, and greater peace of mind for would-be parents.
Australia by Design will be back with a brand new series next year. To keep updated or for more information on any of today's innovations, visit australiabydesign.com.au.